mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá jákèjádò àgbáláyé o mo kẹ́yìn olólùfẹ́ mi a kú dédé àsìkò yìí ẹ dẹ̀ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò wa ẹ gbà yíyẹ̀wò ẹ bá wa dá sí ẹ̀yin ènìyàn mi fídíò tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ lórí ayélujára tí àwọn ènìyàn ń sọ̀rọ̀ lé lórí òun ni mo mú wá o ènìyàn mi ẹ farabalẹ̀ ẹ bá mi wo fídíò yìí.
There has been a lot of ups and downs. One of them was the attack to assassinate Igboho on the 1st of July. I would have been killed.
Mo jẹ́ ẹ̀jẹ́ fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà tó ń ṣàn fún wàrà àti fún oyin, ilẹ̀ tó kún fún àwọn akọni ọgbọ́n ètò àti òye. Mo ṣe ìlérí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ológo ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀, ìtànṣán oòrùn láti la ayé já nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà, láti gbé ilẹ̀ Odùduwà lárugẹ. Mo pinnu láti fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan fún ìlọsíwájú ìran Yorùbá. Mo fọwọ́ sọ̀yà pé n kò ní dalẹ̀ tàbí ṣọ̀tẹ̀ sí ìṣọ̀kan àti ìtẹ̀síwájú orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà. Èmi yóò fi gbogbo ipá, ọkàn, iṣẹ́, ọgbọ́n àti ìṣe mi sin orílẹ̀-èdè mi ní òtítọ́ àti lódodo títí ọjọ́ ayé mi. Gbogbo ìyànjú àwọn akọni tó ti lọ kò ní já sófo láti ọwọ́ mi títí dé ìrandíran tí ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn. Mo ṣe ìlérí pé ẹ̀sìn tàbí ìṣèlú kò ní yà wá nílẹ̀ Odùduwà. Tó bá wáyé bẹ́ẹ̀, mo lè lo ọkàn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó kù sára mi láti fi ṣègbè àti jàjàgbara fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ilẹ̀ Odùduwà, ìran Yorùbá, èdè kan, àṣà kan àti ìṣe kan ló so wá pọ̀ láéláé lágbára Elédùwà.
To assassinate Igboho on the 1st of July, I would have been killed if I was met in his house. But the gods of Yoruba land, the Odua of Yoruba land, the Obatala, the Shangos, and my father was not sleeping. So I was not in that particular house on the day of the attack. Not that I am the smartest. Some say that I even made the setup, but that is for history to decide. But one thing is, I have said it behind him and in front of him that he will find me next to him on a daily basis. And that's why he has chosen me to be his spokesman. And the journey is not yet over until we can declare and put our flag on the soil of every part of our borders, flying high mast to say that Yoruba has become a full independent country. Regardless of whether the politicians agree or not, that must happen, and it must happen very fast. Muke Alex Mamu, Otojometa, I'm sure you've been very busy with life. I am not here to talk about myself because for my 40 years plus, I'm 40 years plus, I have enjoyed life. At least 25 years of my life living in the UK, I have had what they call freedom. Moki Mr. Ayinde Olademeji Ayola Jamiu Laba Moki gbogbo ẹ̀yin Muslims and Christians. Tabawa Adebisi Boboye Tinubu does the right thing to free Sunday Igboho and let the Yoruba free totally. Yoruba land is a country on its own before the fraudulent amalgamation. Moki Pro Femi Joseph Okunla, Moki Bobo Professor Tembeni Gbogbo University nílẹ̀ Yorùbá presently tó ń pè ní Nigeria. Moki Baba mi Kẹ́hìndé Oseni Salami. Moki Enten darapọ̀ mọ́ wa lórí Twitter space, the MixLR, and also the Twitter where people are watching me right now. Please help me to retweet. It can help somebody and work in the spirit of either the Biafra, the Ijaw people, and the Hausa people, and most importantly, our Iromualade. Do we have the entitlement? Bekani country tiwa? Yes, it is right that we have our country. America is a country. Great Britain, and it will remain great, whether we agree with them or not, because their citizens want it to be great. And they will do everything to satisfy themselves, whether it will not satisfy the Yoruba people, the Biafra, the Ijaw, as it is being structured in the one Nigeria. So, ìdùnnú ló jẹ́ fún mi láti jẹ́ kan náà àwọn tí ó ń jà ìjà tó dá, because èèyàn lè máa jà in the wrong fight and you might end up being killed. Ẹ̀mí wọ̀ ní bọ́ọ̀sì eléyìí tá gbé dání, gbogbo ẹni tó bá ní ẹ̀mí wá máa bọ́ sí, ẹ̀mí wọn ni ó máa bọ́ sínú ẹ̀, ẹ̀mí tàwọ̀ ní já sínú nǹkan tá gbé dání, ẹ̀mí ìyàwó wọ̀ ní bọ́ọ̀sì, ẹ̀mí àwọn ọmọ tá bí àtàwọn tá ṣe máa bí, àti èmi àtẹ̀yìn gbogbo àjọ máa délẹ̀ lérí. And it is going to happen. So I don't want you to have it at the back of your mind pé kò ní ṣeé ṣe. Gbogbo ìgbà tẹ́ bá ti ń jí ní ojoojúmọ́ lówùúrọ̀, ẹ máa sọ pé ó ti ṣeé ṣe. Mo kí ní gbogbo ìlú Èkìtì, ní Adó Èkìtì precisely, bàbá mi Olúwọlé Ọ̀ṣọ́. We are burning a lot of your data, but that is part of the movement. Nígbà tá a bá délẹ̀ lérí, a lot of you will enjoy it and you will not have to worry for too much. Mo kí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí bàbá mi Fẹ́mi Joseph. Mr. Sheson Fashola, wọ́n ṣe àmì sádùúrà yẹn. Ìran Yorùbá, ìran tí Ọlọ́run dá dáadáa ni. Kò dẹ̀ sílùú tí kò mọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run dá dáadáa. But as usual, a máa ń rá àwọn kan tó máa ń fẹ́ tẹ̀yàn rì. Mr. Abe Dairo, mo fi tẹ̀lédùmarè, mo fi kí yín. Mo kí gbogbo yín silent listeners, gbogbo yín tẹ́ wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́. Mo kí yín, mo kí gbogbo lecturers tó ń bẹ ní gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, tó jẹ́ ọmọ ọkọ Yorùbá, tó mọ ìtàn, tó mọ history. Mo kí Laji Abbas. Mo kí gbogbo àwọn media tó wà nílé tí wọ́n fàǹfààní fún wọn láti lè ṣe tá à ń ṣe. Ó wù wọ́n lọ́kàn pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Oríyọmí Hamzat. He was in London. You might not know, but we had the privilege to see each other. I will leave that for another day. I know where he stands, but I will just leave it for that right now. Èmi àti wọn ní picture Tajoya ní London, but let me just leave that for now. I know where every one of those media stand, whether they work with TVC. I am a good friend to Seun Okinbaloye. But one thing is, Mokibabami Ebun, Yusuf Abiodun, this fight has to be completed. That is the only joy. Tamari Ninoe. And Johnny Noah, Moki Bubantewa ni Surulere. Okay, Yawa Abe Dairo, one name Mokin Shokunri, ma mix me up. Moki Baba, Yadada, and Yalalu Barika. Àwọn ìyá tó mọ yomo. Tó ń wo ọ̀nkán tó mọ̀ pé lótìtọ́ lódodo ìjà tó dáná olóyè ń jà àti bàbá Kítóyè àtàwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ executive wọn. Èèyàn kan wà lè dájà. It has to be a collective fight, and that is the reason why we are making a clarion call. Mo kí ní Lugana, mo kí ní Abidjan, mo kí ní Benin Republic, mo kí Secretary Baba Adekwe Womo, Ọlọ́run adásí. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ń béèrè pé ǹjẹ́ a lè gba Yorùbá nation tí kò ní mú ìjà dání? Yes, it is very, very possible, but it has to be a collective effort. It will minimize the risk on you and me. But how do we deliver the message? Báwo la ṣe fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ni tó wà nínú oko tí wọ́n ti finá jẹ níyà for the last 40 years wọ́n rí iná dáadáa rí? Some of you have turned blind because you have not had enough power of light coming into your house. Some of you do not have good health care. Nigeria is a jungle, and I'll be telling you while I was away after the broadcast this morning, after finishing my calls in the house, washing the plates, doing what I need to do to help the family, taking my children to the library to pick up books. As I was in the library, I wasn't crying, but I was just looking at the environment and saying to myself, how my children are privileged to have been born here. They could have been born in Africa, mostly in the jungle, and they will have to fight it through. My daughter picked up 3 books. My son picked up 1. The mother was not happy when we got back home. That is their problem, not mine. I have done mine by taking them there. From there, I went to buy rice, 10 kg. It cost me 25 pounds. Most of you will have loved to do the same thing in Yoruba land, whether in Ekiti State, whether in Loni, whether in Offa. It doesn't matter. In every part of Yoruba land, you would have also loved to do the same thing. Walk into the town center, go to the library, pick up the book, come out. Molosi CX. CX is an exchange where people buy second-hand product. I just go there. But we're trying. Money and love for you lonje. Only what does that mean? Money oju, kilele, only eyes. Money onje, only food. Dear, noni. And you can't force them. They will learn. Not that I can show Yoruba nile, but every children in the diaspora tend not to speak their language apart from the Pakistan and the India. They don't joke with that language. But reason Titiwa proved difficult, that has been the creation of Nigeria. So at the embedment, even though Yoruba le kama soloto, eni to wa ni Nigeria gan kò sọ Yoruba, amo se bo se ọmọ tó wà nílùú òyìnbó. Not that around tó ń sọ tó gbọ́ with that. We got in there, we were looking at all the showroom of what they have. I saw many things that I would love to have, but one ní tó buy tí ní owó wàá kọ́ máa fún lóúnjẹ jẹ nìyẹn ló ṣe ń pè ní window shopping. Right there, I know what I want to buy as soon as I have the money. But since I don't have the money, we walked in there, we took a bit of the time, and we walked out. From there, I went to the local shop and I picked up a 10 kg rice for $24.99. This is the kind of life you want to live as well. I'm sure that is just like my daily call. I'm sure but that is the kind of life you want to live. Yes, in life, there will be people that are more richer than us. I want Lati lo see store, Lati lo ra rice, what my order ni. But we just want Yoruba people to have a quality life. We love you, we appreciate you, but I am happy with my wives. I am satisfied with them, but we appreciate all our sisters, our mothers, for going through a very rough time in the jungle. Why do we call Nigeria a jungle? I was watching Nature, a movie, well, it's not a movie, it's a documentary on the Netflix. It talks about different animals, and when from elephant to lion to zebra to crocodile, and you can imagine all these animals have to survive. Tobawa ninu zoo, niwawa under control, but when they are left in the wilderness somewhere, I believe it's one of the African countries that the documentary was shot, but I can't remember where. They look more like Sudanese. I'm not sure whether that is Ethiopia, but definitely it's somewhere in Africa that documentary was shot. It's a long one. I didn't finish watching it, but I was just trying to picture jungle. Aziz Shakiru Mofitele Dumarike Baba Kende Salami ni what if daru dapo ede one Nigeria radarada yen gba gbogbo ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. And that is why a lot of us, even in the diaspora, at the lucky pay our buy so for me to be speaking Yoruba after 25 years plus out of Nigeria is a bonus, is a kudos. How do I translate it back to my children is a task ahead. They will learn, but it's still a task. Looking at that movie, well, not movie, documentary, because there's a movie, there's documentary, there's side fix and all kind of things. I'm just giving you what has happened with me in the last few hours after that. If you miss it, I came back home, not come back with tabon. Mo wear, mo shave, mo lo body spray. Hello, mi o mo ton pe ni body spray. You stink. Not because of anything. Shelly told it down body spray. The body spray cost me almost £3. Whatever the equivalent of that in Nigeria today, Bukwanuyi cannot even buy body spray to smell nice. Smell nice. I used the body spray. I used the aftershave. Very smelly one, very good one. I didn't use perfume because I wasn't going anywhere. And I went downstairs and I bought my popcorn out. And I sat there and I started watching this documentary about animals. How do you think animals survive in the jungle if they are not under control, like in the zoo? Everybody wants to survive. The elephant wants to survive. The tiger wants to survive. The crocodile needs a food to survive. So crocodile no man de àwọn animal tó fẹ́ gbanú omi kọjá. Tó bá tin lọ báyìí, á mú wọn lẹ́sẹ̀. Ó wá kọ ẹni tó fẹ́ gbà lẹ́nu ẹ̀. That is the country you are dealing with right now called Nigeria. So tẹ́ bá ń béèrè pé why is it taking so long pé ká tó gba country wa? Wọ́n ti mú gbogbo wa lẹ́nu báyìí. Àwa fẹ́ gbára wa sílẹ̀, and that means that ẹni tó mú wa lẹ́nu dání yẹn òun náà fi wá sílẹ̀, because tó bá fi wá sílẹ̀ ó máa gbádùn ayé tó kò ní gbádùn ayé tí kò ṣe pé wọ́n lè gbádùn ayé, because the money that politicians are stealing is too much for them and they might not be able to use it for the rest of their generation, but they just like stealing. Mo kí bàbá mi Joe P. Mo kẹ́hìn tẹ́ wo mi lórí Instagram. Bàbá mi Waris General, that is true. Prime Minister Modi spoke and addressed Bola Tinubu in Abuja in Indo language with a translator. It doesn't need an English because they throw English out of India so that it doesn't disturb their ways of life and their culture. And I'm talking about India because, like I said, I was watching my wife, the one in India, the wife that I've not met, Palikishama, very brilliant presentation. But before I was watching that, I was watching that documentary and looking at all the animals and trying to figure out who can survive. But sometimes everybody survives. Koda, wani igbeton ya. Imagine we're talking about thousands and thousands of animals in one particular geographical area. Igbeton ya gan oníṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe láti reproduce the fertile land. Because bó ṣe yàgbẹ́ yẹn á jẹ́ káwọn manure ìgbẹ́ yẹn kó jẹ́ kí koríko lè wù. Even the smallest ant has to survive. But we don't want to live in the jungle, because I'm sure our Yoruba àti pọ̀jù jungle lọ. Waris Jinadu Babawani, crocodile is the king of the swarm. That lion king don't mess with. So we are dealing with a country that has been a jungle for 64 years. Good 64 years without no kind of infrastructure. Many people have died that they are still meant to be alive. One of those that died is Dr. Chinelo. Rotimi Amechi said that she could have not died if we have put the security in place, but apparently she died, and many others on that train attack that occurred by the terrorists. But one thing about the world is that it will be very difficult for us. Do you know that Trump is trying to renegotiate back with the Taliban? What an interesting time to be alive. And I'm not making this up. It is just the news I've just watched. China already have an embassy in Afghanistan. India has what they cover the security India. I'm like the being a man continue on dada. Tọ́lọ́ njẹ́ káwa náà tètè ní country wa. Tẹ́jẹ́ pé tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá, o gbọ́dọ̀ pọ́n Yorùbá lé. Tó o bá pọ́n lé, a máa sákẹ́ as a government official. Tẹ́ bá lọ gbọ́ tí Palikishama tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀, tó bá di ti bí India báyìí, ó máa ń pọ́n lé, ó máa ń fi ọ̀wọ̀ sí lára. When Igbo is talking about Yoruba people, one, if you're wasi, you can tell from the Arise TV, the banter that goes on there, because they expect Omo Igbo, who respect Yoruba. Sometimes it shows in their program, but Omo Yoruba to face sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Yoruba. Tẹ́ bá lọ wo Oriyomi Hamzat program, ẹ rí pé èdè Yoruba tó máa ń sọ níbẹ̀ yẹn, ó ń jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn wá report ara wọn. Imagine tó bá yẹ pé Oriyomi Hamzat ń sọ Hausa, ó fi ń ṣe program yẹn. The same thing with Berekete. Teba lo Berekete. Adli le ma romo Yoruba to ma lo síbẹ̀ to ma feel comfortable because èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì ló ń sọ níbẹ̀ pẹ̀lú broken. I hope you understand what I'm trying to pick up from there. Because ẹni tó bá lọ sọ́dọ̀ Oriyomi Hamzat tó lọ report nǹkankan, ó máa farabalẹ̀ ṣàlàyé ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn nítorí èdè tó ń lò. Mo fẹ́ kí flag yẹn kó ṣubú ni kó lè ṣubú, not because, each time I come to my son's room, I always love it because these are children. that doesn't need to pay for anything. My son is a footballer, but he's not playing football anymore. It might be divert a little bit. Many of you do not understand what it means to be free. Mo léyàn kan tó yẹ pé ó ń wá gbogbo ọ̀nà tó fẹ́ fi wọ UK pé kó tó wọ UK báyìí wọ́n ready láti wọ́n ló gbọ́dọ̀ wọ UK kó tó lè fi sínú club. But look at my son now, he has no time for football anymore. I take him down to the football ground every Saturday like some few years back. But right now, he's not interested in football. Also to divert to another thing. And this is how freedom is all about. So when we talk about your future, that future should be now. But you are living in a jungle where you are. My son now doesn't have to die being a footballer because he has other options. And those options are working for him right now as a student. And I'll leave the rest. I've told you that he's also into his own little, you know, and to ban follow me back. One more intimate space on but I don't have to tell you. So what we are trying to say, I have to tell him to take it down and dust it. Dust it. He's a striker. But let me leave that for now. And it's not just one. He has many awards that he was given as a striker. Even at some point when I travel, that is one of his boots. So you can have the same privilege with your children, but they have been restricted because the future is no longer bright in that jungle. So everybody's trying to survive. I love this song. He has many like that. And this was when he was under 9, top goal scorer between 2015 and 2016. He was the top goal scorer. But like I said, he refused to go along with this football. This is another one. Odimelo Timothy showing. Odimelo, I hope you're counting it. I want this solo repete, but this man is not playing football anymore. I would have loved him to play football so I can buy my. Imagine to buy Jekwe Mura Mercedes Benz. Shele Masakowo Yoruba Nation Mofira Mercedes Benz. Any more for me long football, don't tell you me. But football money see. But his life is still better because the future is there. But I am worried and concerned even about that future in this country for him. And that is the reason why I have decided to participate. And this one is a big one. You can see this one. This is another big one, like a World Cup. It might be on Twitter space. You can't see it. It's a big one. Big one, Lele. And this one was given to him in 2017, 2018, under 11. I took it for long. So while am I saying all this is just because I just want to encourage us that we have a lot of work to do and we have to complete it. What do I mean by that? By Yoruba country. How do we get it? It has to be a collective work. This is not the task of Igboho alone. Tani one campaign for. I know that people that are into politics, they are die-hearted people. They campaign for round 1 year because of the SSC, of the PA. So watching Woboya, I will not let ring G because politicians are criminals. None of them have any future for you. Where are we when we talk about the war? Like I said earlier, after looking at the video of these events happening, unfolding with the nature, I now realize that human beings have to survive. But kawa struggle too much. Koto dipe ariono abayo. Yakoni 4 trophy and I think he has more than 20. And I'm not making this up. More than 20. Football. But again, that's another story for another day. That's it. Or YouTube motivo video, motivo documentary. I have it in front of me. So if you want to go and check it out yourself, all you need to do is type in nature's moment. I'm watching it right now. I can't release the audio because of the copyright. And the one I was watching was produced 3 weeks ago with about 97,000 views. The headline is Wide Serengeti, the endless chase of lion and buffalo, nature animal documentary. You can see that I don't make things up here. Ati kọjá ẹni tó máa parọ́ pé torí àwọn wá èmi wá followership pé I need the crowd. No, èmi wá àwọn authentic people tájọ fẹ́ gba Yorùbá country. Àwọn kan wà nílùú ìtẹ́ pé they are not going to be interested. Wọ́n ṣe pé wọ́n were interested. They don't want to have anything with Nigeria because Nigeria ti show wọn ní pẹ́pẹ́. There are some people like that. While there are some people that will be against pé kí Yorùbá kó dá dúró, those ones knows the truth, but they are just against it. Not that they're just against it for whatever reason. I'm not talking about the other ethnic indigenous people. I'm talking about our Yoruba Gongon. So watching this documentary, it shows that the life in the jungle, Nigeria, is not a life for you. Whether you accept it or not, we must take Yoruba Nation on your behalf. Because you are not getting the fact that life Toun is not the kind of life. I can see all kind of animals, different animals. Let me see if I can see which country Lati documentary. Because sometimes you can read more from the write-up. He didn't say, he didn't give me Ilu Totishe, maybe Multisco Wale DSC. No, he did not. All right. But at least a lot of people have watched it. 1st of March, New uploaded. Number one, do you think that it will be easy for the cameraman to get the kind of, somebody say, please encourage your boy with a football gift? Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. Maybe for his next birthday. I mean, he's no longer in football, but he's in something else, but I don't want to share that on the social media. He's doing something else completely now. And he's doing very well, and we're encouraging him, and we're supporting him as a family so that he can continue to grow. In Timothy Gba nature, the elephant now, they are very robust animals. Koda wani intogbe simu their trunk can last a very long. I think they're about 4 foot or something like that. The question is, ǹjẹ́ bí Nigeria ṣe wà yìí, ẹ̀yin tí ẹ disagree, ìjọ ogun lẹ́yìn rò pé Nigeria máa lè sustain wa, ká máa kúrò nínú situation tá wà nú ẹ̀, and we can start living a kind of life like I have just narrated. We went to the library, we picked up the book, we did a window shopping. I picked up a 10 kg rice at $24.99, got back home, had a popcorn, had a shower, had the body spray, sat down. Not everything has been free. I still have to pay for all this service. Then I think one of my phone bill, because I normally pay in advance, man, it is some jasibe £2, £3. So when I looked at the one of them, the O2, only muje £2. Musari son, £2 something. Then I think my Virgin, I'm owing £18 that I need just to pay. No, £18. But my charge me April 3rd. But the full bill is about £43. But what I do is I normally add money to the account so that Toba Mafi Day, Marty was a little bit relaxed. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So this life, time being in Nigeria, are we living our fullest life or we are living a fake life? In Jayeta being in Nigeria, Tefeje can maintain. We are not blaming Tinubu for the crisis and the mess that Nigeria has found itself, because Tinubu only came in about a few years ago. Nigeria has been destroyed economically. Nigeria has been destroyed spiritually. Nigeria has been designed not to work for any Nigerians. It's a fact. Whether you believe that or not is not my problem, it's yours. But the fact is that should we as Yoruba people, the learned people, àwọn èèyàn yìí, Mr. Lati sọ pé even in 1,000 years, that country will not work. Moki Mr. Adura Femo. In 1,000 years is just even too long. Even if Tinubu redesign Nigeria to work, it will eventually fail and collapse quickly. And we cannot play with our lives being messed up. Mo ń wo nǹkan kan lórí Twitter Company X. I think one of the radio stations in Nigeria, somebody cut that section. But boy, I prefer to be inside the Algeria prison than to be returned back to Nigeria. Not everybody would leave Nigeria. Some are in Nigeria and they can be successful. But the system, I keep telling you, Fulani is just part of the people that we can push back. But we are talking about how do we want to be part of the player in the world economy as Yoruba people. Because, like I said, the news I was watching that I've just finished. Let me see if I can pull it up in a minute. India and America are trading about 70 billion US dollars. Yes. I'm sure that is what I heard in the news, even though I might be wrong with the figure. But I'm just going to play the video in a minute. Unload lower. Trump trade war. India moves easing China trade curbs. Indian game plan. Donald Trump says that you charge us high tariff, we will charge you back as well. The Indian Prime Minister will be visiting Sri Lanka next week. But right now, what is India game's plan as Trump? Is also what Trump and the game between India is going to happen is that there is a lot between the two of them. Between the two of them, there is a big, massive trade war. So the answer of Fulani, those are just security. Yes, we know their agenda. And we know what their agenda is all about. But their agenda can be dealt with if we leave Nigeria. Taba in Nigeria, we can deal with that and stop the agenda. That's number one. But if Pawoni Afe play as Yoruba people in the future world that we are living today, do you know that they are already preparing for the 6G? Already we have the 5G. The 6G will be completely bad. Role wo ni ìran Yorùbá náà fẹ́ play lágbàáyé. Role wo la fẹ́ play. Role wo ni a fẹ́ play lágbàáyé. Mo kí ẹ just reason. What role do you want to play to the world that we are living today? Or you just want to be there and you don't want to play a role as a Yoruba people, as a Yoruba country? I'm sure a lot of us wants to play a role. But the only way to actually role you play, only can exit Nigeria, can ní independent country tiwa, don't pè ní orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Mo kí Mr. Akim Oladeji, mo kí Mr. Nuruddin Akimoyede. Mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá ní gbogbo ibi tẹ́ tí ń gbọ́ ohùn wa. Let's go and listen to April 2nd, because Trump says, I'm not going to use April 4th because people will take it as a joke. They can say that it's April 4. Within the next week, there is going to be a lot of trade tariff changing. America, and you charge us 100%, we will charge you back 100%. That is creating a lot of problem around the world right now. But ipa wo lawa náà fẹ́ play? What is our role? Everybody has a role to play in making a society and a country to work. Gbogbo role tí gbogbo àwọn parents wa play nínú Nigeria has failed every one of us. They tried their best. Moki Ola Tony Ages. They tried their best. They did try their best. But their best did not work. Do you know why? Their best did not work. Have you ever thought of why? The best one, because if their best was good, a lot of our lives will be better today. They worked hard. Our parents worked very hard. They threw everything to make things to work. But what failed them is that they were in the wrong country. And that country had a big impact in their lives today. And for us not to repeat the same thing with the generation don't grow in, we have to do whatever it takes to pull that structure down. Olatunji Riluwa Mokin. Whatever it takes, we have to do it. Whatever it takes. And that's exactly what we are doing under the leadership of Professor Akintoye. Mokin Mr. Kola Adams. Gbogbo tó bá gbà náà là ń ṣe. But we have not yet completed the task. That means we must not fail. Because the task ahead is big. So let's go quickly. Moki, Mr. Kola Adams. When I quit to Babami Igbowo for life. There's no doubt about it. Igbowo will play his role. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n náà máa ready láti play role tiẹ̀? Baba Akintoye is already playing his role. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n náà fẹ́ play role tiẹ̀? Èmi ń play role tèmi. Ǹjẹ́ yín náà máa play role tiyín? Àwa gbọ́dọ̀ jọ play role yẹn so that we can succeed together. And we are definitely going to do that. Now, let's listen to Trump's trade war, pushing India closer to China. Our Esi in Romualade Mukinya Kabo Ekrole. Share the program. We might just probably spend like 2 hours, and the time runs very fast. I believe we have already done 1 hour. You'll be surprised at the way time flies. Let's listen to this.
April 2 is fast approaching, and with it are Trump's tariffs. Traders and economists have been dreading this date. India, like many other trade partners of the US, is on the tenterhooks. Will these tariffs force New Delhi to pivot to China? That's what we'll discuss.
Do you know that having a Yoruba country right now, Mokiyami First Bank, Ekabo, Otojo Meta, our grandchildren call at the quarter two. I believe the weather is changing gradually, but already America only weather was bad today. The UK one is at least more water jadi, so the weather is not too bad, but it's still cold. In Jamokwe, if we do everything possibly best and we can get our country now, India will be working towards to work with us as a new trade partner. Not that they are not working with Nigeria right now, but we can be giving them a better deal. And we can be the one where trade by barter, both countries, a Yoruba country and India, are working together for the successful of humanity. Kò ń ṣe pé kí India nìkan máa kó gbogbo dumping ground wọn wá láti India kó wá drop it in Nigeria and also disrespect you as Yoruba people. From what we've heard, gbogbo iléeṣẹ́ tó jẹ́ ti India nísìn wọ́n fún yín ní ẹ̀tọ́ yín. All that is not going to happen. This is what they call we are paid back country. So in time play lọ nísìn, òun ni tán pè ní the trade war between America and the rest of the world because of the tariff change that is coming up on the 2nd of April. So many, when are you going to start? So many countries might not be able to cope. So they have to look for alternative. So having our own independent Yoruba country will be a good privilege. Mr. Kolawole Omosona Mokinye Kabo. We are almost there. Like I said, it's not going to be a long program. It might not even be up to 2 hours. So we see how it goes.
Tonight. But first, let's look at what is coming. This is the threat that Trump has been making for weeks now.
So on April 2nd, I wanted to make it April 1st, but I didn't want to be accused of April Fool's Day. April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them.
Whatever you tariff us, we will tariff you back. Ìyẹn ló ń pè ní you do me, I do you. Kí lẹ bá ń parí òwe yẹn. But what is playing out in Nigeria today is that one particular ethnic group, Fulani, have been empowered to suppress the rest of the indigenous people. One of those empowered is Dangote. Dangote was empowered to destroy the rest of the Yoruba businesses. One of those also empowered are the people from Southeast. What empower or not? Because we own the banking sector. This is not about anything, it's a fact. But we are no longer in the banking sector. We have been chased out completely. Bogo banking sector, Ile Yoruba, to are established, is no longer our own. And I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about. It might not feel comfortable with some people, but that is a fact. The business people are the Igbo people. No, the Yorubas have been running businesses because I know my mom has been running business for a very long time before I was born in the 70s. So don't come and tell me that the Igbos are the one running businesses. No, I disagree with you. And my mom has been to more than 23 countries around the world, including China. But when the indigenous people have not been given the privilege inside their own territory, supporting them by their government, rather, we have been kicked out. One of those kicked out was my mom. Àwọn tó ń pè ní North took advantage of the weapon that they had in their hands, that the Britain told them that in anything you do, Britain told them that do not leave the weapon alone. Make sure that ìbọn wà lọ́wọ́ yín at all interval, and that is why the North Fulanis kept hold on to the military. And for that purpose, a lot of us and our parents were destroyed completely. Gbogbo tí bàbá Awólọ́wọ̀ ṣe pátá was destroyed. NTA does not belong to the federal government. Awalani, Moke Aziz Badeshere Eyanyi, Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi dáadáa. Even though he's busy right now, he will still comment. But I can tell you that tó bá wọlé lóru program mi ló máa fi sùn. Ó lè wá gbé bí àlè lórí o. But kò ní wò nǹkan kan míì. Program tèmi ló máa wò last. I know that. Olorun Abandro here. So what we are saying is that many Yoruba people do not understand and emphasize the bigger picture of how we can have a cordial relationship with many countries, especially as the world is turning around. If Donald Trump, and I'm not making this up, it's also in this particular news bulletin. The private bank on Nigeria is Agbomagba Bank. Now is called Wema Bank, owned by the Yorubas. Igwe tó kú yẹn. Igwe tó kú, ẹ rántí bọ̀bọ̀ tó kú yẹn, tó kú nínú helicopter pẹ̀lú ọmọ ẹ̀. Ṣebí ṣé GTB Bank ní àbí? We know how all those deals have been done to kick out the Yoruba people, destroy all our factories, and brought in other people, and they say that Access Bank, Eshigoni Bishop Additional. Bishop knows what I'm talking about because he's into that sector. The Yoruba people were not given good ground to survive. And those that we expect that will do the needful so that we can survive have sold us out to the same people that are oppressing us from the north. So Bobole Yoruba have been dominated. And we don't have a say anymore. When do you start? Princess, when are you going to start? Oh, okay, all right. Olinawo Igwe. I don't care whether he died in a helicopter crash. That is his own cup of tea. They destroy the Yoruba people. Bia Songoloke, who knows? Access Bank swallow Intercontinental Bank owned by a Yoruba man. And we are not. Happy with such. A Yoruba government must protect the indigenous people first. That is the reason why Kasiborogba country. Having our own country will mean that our interest must be protected against the Igbos, the Hausas, the Fulanis, the Ijaws. Interests were government. The UK government dare not put the Italian farmers against the British farmer. That would destroy this country as quickly as possible. They dare not. I hope I'm making sense. If I'm making sense, help me in the comment section. But Omo Yoruba Mo, the game that they've done. Yami Kontimankwe in the First Bank. She understands what I'm talking about because she retired in the first. I'm not going to give you her name. She's watching me right now. The Yoruba people were destroyed from inside and outside. What by le lowa àwọn tó nílẹ̀. What gbé fún Dangote, what de sanwó kankan fún àwọn tó nílẹ̀. Ti Dangote fi operate. Do you know what that means? Táwa te ká te sọ pé àwọn ò ní owó láti fi build a refinery. But this is our ancestral land. That ancestral land is valued more than the Dangote refinery. Whatever the cost of the refinery, I don't give a bullshit. That ancestral land, tí wọ́n jí gbà lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó nílẹ̀ yẹn. Mo kí ẹ àṣírí kọ̀kọ̀ Elédùmarè. Aziz Sakiru mo kí ẹ. Mo kí Mr. Kola Adams. Wọ́n ní òdodo ọ̀rọ̀ bàbá. Who are those behind all this? You think it's just those that are internal? They are also externals, the foreign power brokers like Babami. I like Babawa Waris Jinodo. If you go and look at all his comments in the last 4 years, it has always been so. Yoruba, we find things difficult to understand quickly. We are fighting a government and we are still pumping it with our money. Take our money out of Nigeria, Nigeria will be destroyed within 1 week. Yoruba land restitution with the full autonomy. We can deal with anybody, and if they don't want to be dealt with, they have the right to leave our land. I got a call from somebody from Libya. Not a call, it was a voice message. Wani baba mi Koiki, Muki Egbon mi brother mi baba wa Jimmy Koya. Wani Koito sa. Wani Mr. Koiki, won yo wa lenu ni Libya. Mo ni se Libya jege bi le baba tiwa. That is what I sent back to him. Libya does not belong to us. I will survive the Beni. Tí ilẹ̀ wa bá jẹ́ ilẹ̀ tó tẹ́ wa lọ́rùn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ fún wa. Do you know that Libya doesn't have a government for many years and their life is what's better? So ẹ̀yin tẹ́ lọ síbẹ̀ wọ́n máa fi ń ṣe tó bá wù wọ́n because ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ bá wọn nílùú wọn. So let's go back to this trade war. So you can say that our Yoruba tiwa in the deep mess for a very long time because the whole structure. Program we talked about how in 2002 a particular Yoruba elder visited Obasanjo and he said to them that why should I want to go in line with Awolowo policy? Because kò ń ṣe full-blooded ọmọ Yoruba. But tó bá jẹ́ pé full-blooded Yoruba ni kò ní sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Bishop Adesina also says, and I quote, the reason why we are reading comment is because we're not streaming on the live software. So, àwọn tó ka ilé nísìnyí, àwọn tó wà lórí Facebook, wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ tí and comment. Wọ́n ní Awolowo uses Yoruba people's shares of the western region of Nigeria to pioneer the first bank. Today, all the board directors in the first bank are northerners. Clement Muke, brother Midada. This does not mean that we are having clash with the Igbos. No. This does not mean that we are having clash with the Hausa. It has to be the Igbo first in their own region. I don't want any Yoruba people to go and dominate their region as well. In terms of, it has to be them first before us. The British come first. The British will not employ you after you get to a certain stage in some particular sector. Oh, to be. You might think that but Rishi Sunak was the prime minister. That is what you are thinking. But you saw what happened. He was kicked out quickly. Whether Kemi Adeosun will become the prime minister, what will be? He have to wait. There's not going to be any election now until 3 years from now. That is if he is still the opposition leader as at the time. I'll live there for 25 years. I know what the English people will do. They don't joke when it comes to their power. Adeyinka grandson talks about this particular gray area very well more than me. He's an expert. I cannot doubt it. I can challenge him on that. He normally used the word English people. They would not give the Scottish people the room. Gordon Brown was a man that I met under the Tony Blair when I came to this country in 1998. He was a Scottish. When the election came for people to vote, they didn't vote him. But the same English deceived the Scottish people to remain in this union. The same English people, what deceive our Scottish, don't we now Scotland, will let us remain in the union, but we will not leave European Union. And that was a deceit. That was a lie. So whatever we do, the Yoruba must come first. That would not say that we would not have cordial relationship with our neighbors. Do you know that as of today, Trump wants to start engagement with the Taliban? I will tell you where in this particular broadcast. You know why? Because Trump is already emphasizing the business deal that China and the coffee Genino area, because in talking a battery, Oponi, Afghanistan, it's all about trade war. So when you look at Nigeria and you want to die for Nigeria, you are not going to be part of the people that will enjoy it, because you are just part of the statistics under the IMF and the World Bank and the WHO. But for us to be serious Yoruba people, an ancestral land was sold to Dangote to build a refinery. But the people that own that ancestral land did not even get a penny out of it, because things were done the shady way. Do you know that you cannot just build a motorway in the UK if the people that own the land has not been fully consulted and paid to the value of how long? You know that's how it works. The Crossrail network that they are building right now in the UK that has gone more than their budget. Towns and villages, a lot of negotiation happened before they can even say, all these never happen in a jungle like Nigeria. I think there's a caller coming through. I don't know about that's it. Hello, caller. All right, on testing number. Hello, me man, testing number. So what we are trying to project, what we are trying to staff me, because like I said to them, when I'm live, or easy for me count if I post the link here so that they may share see or status me. And it is on Mr. Daniel Moki, Mr. I Drop Giant, brother, can you please say flotation device? I don't know what that means. Maybe you might want to explain yourself a little bit better. Not that I just omit your comment, but I didn't understand what that comment or what it means or where it's coming from. So, Emma Binu. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ọláyọmí Kóìkì, lára àwọn ajìjàǹgbara fún ọmọ Yorùbá tó fẹ́ gba country tiwọn. Yoruba difficult for me, you know. Sometimes to process it is a big job for me. It's a big job to process Yoruba. What we are discussing today, this evening, Moki Mr. Oyewole, Moki Bugwentawani, Liverpool, Luton, Milton Keynes, Birmingham, Moki Bugwindia, America. I like to hear Nigerian people say certain words. Okay. So you are testing me as well. So what do you say I should say? Let me read. Flotation. Flotation. Floatation. Flotation. Did I pronounce it very well? I hope I did. Flotation. Thank you so much. So what I'm trying to say this evening is not to attack our other brothers and sisters from the north that are Hausas, of the Igbos that are Biafra, or the Ijaw people. But you know, I didn't pass English when I was in school. I didn't know that when you bring the result here, it's as useless as tissue paper. Once again, thank you so much, Moki, our Grace Olushoto. One good day to you, my darling Olayomi Koiki. Mi ni gbogbo ọkọ ìyá wọn Oòduà. Gbogbo àwọn ìyá yẹn mi lọ́kọ wọn. Ìyẹn kọ́kàn dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ bá mi jà sí. Èmi nìkan ni. Gbogbo wọn ló wà lọ́wọ́ mi báyìí. Tó bá pè mí, tó bá máa ń fi fóònù sí speaker tó bá pè, máa fi tease ìyàwó mi. Ṣòro pé wọ́n nìkan ni ìyàwó mi ni. Gbogbo àwọn ìyá tó ń pè èmi lọ́kọ wọn. Ọkọ mi báwo ni? Ìyàwó mi á máa wojú mi báyìí ní yes. Mo sọ fún ẹ náà. Èmi ni máa mọ mú gbogbo àwọn ìyá yẹn. Ọlọ́run bá ń dá gbogbo ìyá yìí sí. Àjọ máa délé lérí ni ikú kan pa anybody. And I'm trying to be calm because ìyàwó mi ti warn mi pé ṣé kò ń ṣe pé ilé tí mo ti wọṣọ military mo fi lọ gbàgbàgbàgbà mo ní náà. Kò ń ṣe gbogbo program la máa jáde la máa ṣe pé. Kò ń ṣe gbogbo program ni máa jáde ni máa ṣe bí jàgídíjàgan. Ọpọlọ ń bẹ lórí mi. Tí bá fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ calm lórí program mi, máa jẹ́ kẹ́ calm. Tí bá fẹ́ gbé lọ sí irú tàárọ̀ yìí, mo gbé lọ síbi tó yẹ pé nǹkan ó yé yín. Bọ̀ ilé tá à ń sọ yìí, à ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa trade business. Ó tẹ̀ bí a bishop ò sílé mi, ẹ̀ pé ẹ̀kọ́ yẹ kí bishop ti bá mi gba díẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ tẹ̀ ti jẹ́ kí èmi náà kí n dákẹ́ díẹ̀. We're talking about trade. India ń bá America ṣòwò. Many countries ń bá America ṣòwò. Ǹjẹ́ àwa náà fẹ́ bá àwọn àgbáyé ṣòwò? Àbí a fẹ́ wà nínú kí community méjì máa bára wọn jà? Mo tún bẹ̀ yín ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ̀yin ìlú méjèèjì tí ẹ̀ ń bára yín jà. Mo mọ̀ pé ẹ lè má gbọ́ broadcast mi, but mo mọ̀ pé àwọn ọmọ ìlú kọ̀ọ̀kan tó jẹ́ both side. Èmi ò gbèsè ní kankan. I am not gbèsè ní kankan. I am pleading that this is not the time that two Yoruba communities should be fighting. This àsìkò yẹn kọ́ lélẹ̀. A ti wà nínú real danger. Ẹ ń gbèjà ìyàwó yín. Ẹ máa wo màmá yìí. Honey, please don't scare my wife for me. Oh. She's always the champion of all. No. Gba wọn ìyá Oòduà yẹn ni o. Ọkọ mi, ó tẹ̀ ní ìyàwó kan báyìí. Ọkọ mi. Ní ti máa fi gbọ́ nìyẹn. Ọkọ mi. Mo kí arẹwà kíkanjú. I need a car number Ewa Romania. Kò yé mi tẹ́ sọ. Angel, I need a car number. Èdè wo tún nìyẹn kí n bọ́lẹ̀ tún fi gbé wa lọ báyìí. Ẹ jẹ́ ká padà sọ́dọ̀ ìyàwó mi Paliki Sharma. Trump ní láti on the 2nd of April, there will be most of àwọn tó wà nílé kò sẹ́ni tó mọ̀ nípa trade. Kí ló ń pè ní trade? Káràkátà. Ìyí tẹ́ ń tà tẹ́ ń rà yẹn lókàṣì ni. Àwa ti ń ro bí ìran Yorùbá ṣe máa ní great export of products can produce tí àgbáyé need. Kò ń ṣe pé kọ́ wa máa sọ́ọ̀kì wa dry, kọ́ máa gba resources, kọ́ máa gbé lọ sí China, kọ́ máa gbé lọ sí India, kọ́ wa refine ẹ̀ tán kí Tinubu àtàwọn ẹ̀mẹ̀wẹ̀, and I don't want to curse anybody tonight, like I said, I want to be as calm as possible. Kọ́ refine epo tán ní abroad, kọ́ dá padà wá gbogbo ìyẹn no, we don't want that kind of. America ní, the reason why America is very, very hard, I mean Trump rather, only look, come and invest in America. We give you good deal. Ewa produce kini, this is my airport. Come and produce it, in America. Motufe won't come me. Wipes ye. This is a great wipes. Baby wipes. Come and produce it in America. Whatever you can think of. Ewa da ile sile. Best. But Emma lo produce nita kewa tapada fún wa. Etuan jawa lo le. Indirectly by putting higher tariff on our own product tobacco wá sí ìlú yín kò lè work. In tó ń fa ìjà láàrin Donald Trump mo ní bíbá in international platform yín. Right, I know what I'm talking about because many Yoruba people need to understand that some of the things that we are doing today that we are struggling with in what kódà tó bá tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé fáàmì ẹnìkan la wá tidy up pé oko tá à ń ṣe àwa tidy up ìgbà mélòó ló fi ń dá Amẹ́ríkà cargo plane ní ó ní channel kan tí máa ń wò bọ̀bọ̀ kan wà lamẹ́ríkà àwọn tó máa ń shoot airplane aircraft that particular airport ó wà ní Amẹ́ríkà ó dàbí pé mo rò pé normal flight ń débẹ̀ gbogbo tí máa kàn rí ni cargo kìíní kan gbogbo àwọn aircraft yẹn they are cargos they are moving goods in and out of that particular airport so bí i Dallas ló wà tí bá jókòó èrò dẹ̀ máa ń wo bọ̀bọ̀ yẹn gan oríṣiríṣi nǹkan lolúkálukú ń ṣe tọ́lọ̀ bá ti fi àmì sí i tí wọ́n ń ṣe yẹn aṣọ tó ń rán yẹn tó ń rò pé local ló ti fẹ́ tà náà kò ń ṣe local láti nídẹ̀ẹ́ kó bá wa tà àwa náà fẹ́ supply ẹ̀ lọ sí ṣinṣin ni bí àwọn tó rán wa mo ti pàdánù bó ṣe wà yẹn in tó ń ṣe yẹn àwa náà fẹ́ jẹ́ kí ó jẹ́ intermatter not even within Africa across the world is a big place ilé ayé tóbi gan ju pé ká wá restrain ara wa within the confinement of a country that is holding us back from progressing. Wọ́n fi gbalẹ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́ wọ́n ń ṣe jàǹbá fún wa wọ́n tún wá ń sọ pé àwọn làwọn bẹ́tà jù àwa lọ lórí ilẹ̀ wa no kò lè work mọ́. Àwọn olóṣèlú ti fi yẹn parọ́ fún yín for a very long time but we need to correct that and the only way we can correct it now is to have our own country. Mo kí Mr. Peter Alade ẹ bá mi share program yìí Ajani Akin ó ní international journalist Koiki Media Mr. Fatai Mọ́tájọ́ mo fi Tẹlẹ́dùmarè mo fi kí yẹn krọ́lẹ̀ ní aago 7 fi lọ́lù lọ́dọ̀ tiwa ní ìlú òyìnbó Akin mo kí ẹlẹ́wọ̀n sí o Ajani mo kí Ajani Àjàlá ní gbogbo Libya ọwọ́ ẹ̀ ló wà mo kí Babátúndé Owóṣẹ̀yẹ mo kí àwọn staff wa ayé.
mo jẹ́ ẹ̀jẹ́ fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà tó ń ṣàn fún wàrà àti fún oyin ilẹ̀ tó kún fún àwọn akọni ọgbọ́n ètò àti òye mo ṣe ìlérí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ológo ilẹ̀ adúláwọ̀ ìtànṣán oòrùn láti la ayé já nílẹ̀ Áfíríkà láti gbé ilẹ̀ Odùduwà lárugẹ mo pinnu láti fìmọ̀ ṣọ̀kan fún ìlọsíwájú ìran Yorùbá mo fọwọ́ sọ̀yà pé n kò ní dalẹ̀ tàbí ṣọ̀tẹ̀ sí ìṣọ̀kan àti ìtẹ̀síwájú orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà èmi yóò fi gbogbo ipá ọkàn iṣẹ́ ọgbọ́n àti ìṣe mi sin orílẹ̀-èdè mi ní òtítọ́ àti lódodo títí ọjọ́ ayé mi gbogbo ìyànjú àwọn akọni tó ti lọ kò ní já sófo láti ọwọ́ mi títí dé ìrandíran tí ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn mo ṣe ìlérí pé ẹ̀sìn tàbí ìṣèlú kò ní yà wá nílẹ̀ Odùduwà tó bá wáyé bẹ́ẹ̀ mo lè lo ọkàn ẹ̀jẹ̀ tó kù sára mi láti fi ṣègbè àti jàjàgbara fún orílẹ̀-èdè mi ilẹ̀ Odùduwà ìran Yorùbá èdè kan àṣà kan àti ìṣe kan ló so wá pọ̀ láéláé lágbára Elédùwà.